Hey guys, good morning. I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and today I thought I would just talk through a lot of sew-alongs that I'm doing. A lot of them you've already seen before. I do have one new one that I started since I've seen you last, and then I have 3 more that I'm announcing today. Some of them are with us, some of them are with other people, but it's going to give you a lot to choose from if you're looking for a sew-along. And I would love for you in the chat to just let me know like which of these sew-alongs you're doing. I'm trying to do a variety of different fabrics, different manufacturers. So I'm gonna kind of just jump right in and talk about the one that this is my favorite one right now. It's Moda Blockheads. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the sew-along and how they're running it. I am using the Stitched Collection by Fig Tree, and it just came in this week. So if you've been waiting for the fabric, it is here now. And it's going to be a 28-week sew-along. It started in March and it ends in September. And it has 28 designer blocks and then 8 bonus blocks for 36 blocks. So what I decided to do is I wanted to use a mix of large and small blocks. And I was thinking, if the block is harder and has more pieces, I'll make it large. And if it's smaller and has fewer pieces, I'll make it smaller. So we came up with this setting, and it's for Moda Blockheads 4. It's completely free and it's on our site. And the one that says accent is gonna be this fabric. And then the colored blocks, so the brown ones are accent and the colored blocks are just showing different blocks. So this one, and this is a completely free sew-along. Everything is on Moda's blog, and it's a total of 36 blocks. So this is block 1 by Lynn Hagmeyer of Kansas Troubles Quilters. And then what I did was these, I used square and a square paper to get these accurate. And then this one, I used strip sets, and I did 2 strip sets one direction and 2 strip sets the other direction. And whenever I do like 2 fabrics next to each other like this, I will cut each fabric about a 1/4 inch wider and then trim down when I'm done. So I trim down the length and the width. So this is block 1, and it was really fun to do the, I wanted it to kind of look like a sunflower. And some of these you're gonna see throughout that I kind of go rogue and do things a little bit different. This one is called Coup. It's by Janelle of Pieces to Treasure. She is the Moda designer that designs their toweling. And I had the hardest time coloring this. I have no idea why, but I just could not come up with coloring. So I ended up using 2 different backgrounds, and these I used triangle paper. And then these little pieces I use strip sets. And then this block was pretty easy. Now this one I wanted to point out, you can do 2 or 4 different fabrics in here. And I really want to be able to use some of the bigger print. So I just used 1 fabric, but I did use 2 different backgrounds just to give it a little bit of color. And this one is by Ann Sutton. And I used triangle paper here. And there wasn't a triangle paper that fit this exact, so I just used a slightly bigger triangle paper, and then I trimmed down. And you'll also notice that I'm not going in order. Like this is blocks 1, 2, 4, 5. I'm going to show you block 3 in a second and tell you why I'm kind of going out of order. And my goal on this is I'm treating each of these sections as a unit. So as I sew, once I can fill up a unit, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And so as I'm showing you this, you're going to see it turn into a quilt throughout. This is block 5 by Me and My Sister Designs. And I want to be able, my goal on this also is to use as many fabrics as possible. So I thought it was a great way to use a medium print. I'm not great at using medium prints in general, but I also use triangle paper and then strip sets. And like I said, I cut them a 1/4 inch wider and then trim down so they come out exact. So that is 4 of the blocks. And then this is block 3. And this is by Minnick & Simpson. And the reason it's not in here is this has a ton of pieces. So to piece this in a 6-inch size would be really small. And I want my bigger blocks to have a lot of color and a lot of movement. So I made block 3 with the larger size. So in the instructions, there's a 9-inch finished and a 4.5-inch finished. So I'm doing my setting like I showed you, where 9 are big and the rest are small. And I was also able to use a medium print in the middle, and I was pretty careful about the stripes, and I did use triangle paper there. So I used triangle paper, and then here I use flying geese paper also. So leave that there. And then last week there was a bonus. So every couple of Fridays there's going to be a bonus block. So this is the bonus block from a couple weekends ago. And this one I had a really hard time coloring. So a lot of people made it more circle-ish, where it was like circled. But I just could not get the colors to look right. So I decided to use 2 different backgrounds. So these 2 have the same background, and these 2 have the same background. And then I just picked 2 from different colorways, and like these are the same prints, these are the same prints, but this one did take me a while to color. And what I'm going to do is probably put the bonus, I'm probably going to, as I'm assembling, I'll probably just kind of go slightly in order here, and then I'll probably start doing the bonus down here so that it'll kind of meet up, and then that way I can have kind of keep piecing as I go. So I hope you join this. It's really fun. Every Wednesday you can go to the Moda blog in the morning, or you can go to their Facebook group, and there will be blocks there every Wednesday. And then every couple of Fridays there will be just freebie blocks, and this is the first bonus block. And again, you can make them in the 9-inch size or the 4.5-inch size. And I think it's fun because 9-inch is not a size you usually use. 4.5 is not a size you usually use. So you're coming up with, you know, something different than you ever have. And you'll see here, this is so funny, you can see my friction pin. And what I wanted to show you with this is I made all of this bigger and trimmed down so that it comes out perfect. But this is an example of me on crack. So I don't know what, I never really just take a pattern and follow it. That's just not me. I try to do it myself and figure it out myself. And like I said, I cut everything bigger. I don't know what I was doing, but I was trying to make this. And then I finished it and I was like, oh, I don't know what I was doing. So it's so funny because, let's see. She says someone says she thinks I pieced the last one wrong. But so this is an example of me just like listening to true crime, thinking I know what I'm doing. And as I was sewing it, I knew something was wrong. And I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. So, I mean, obviously I'm gonna throw this away, but I thought I would show you this. Okay, the last block. What's the last block? She said the light should be in the center. So I'm not sure. But I will say I did use some freedom on the colors. Like I changed placement. So I might have changed it slightly different than the pattern, and that's okay. And I encourage you to do the same. So this is Moda Blockheads 4. It's the 4th one that Moda has done, and I think I've done 2 of the previous. And I do love the fabric. And I did want to point out I'm using different backgrounds throughout. So there are a lot of backgrounds in this. So I'm just using whatever I think looks good. And I think that using those backgrounds is going to give it a little bit more movement than it normally would have. So super excited about this one. And then, so I'm going to work on, I'll show you more as I go along. The next sew along I wanted to show you was chicken salad. So this sew along is hosted by Lori Holt, and the quilt kit was originally to make a applique quilt in 12-inch blocks, but I don't applique and I wanted to sew along. So Lori came up with some kitchen blocks from her Farm Girl Vintage 1 and Farm Girl Vintage 2 book. So I'm going to show you the blocks I haven't shown before, and on this I am just going to her blog and following exactly what she did. I'm not changing any of the colors. And these are super easy because they're all pieced. You know, I'm not a fan of chickens and I'm not a fan of applique. So these are the last 4 that y'all haven't seen. And if I made any changes, it was on accident. So this was really fun sewing this rickrack. We're gonna zoom in a little bit, but what I did is I used red thread on the top and the bottom, and I had never actually done that before. So I do think I should have messed with my tension a little bit, because it does seem like my tension is like pulled it a little bit, but I think once Gina quilts it, it'll quilt out. This was the original, and we're on week 10. So what I'm going to show you now is all 10 of my blocks, one by one, and that way you can see kind of where we're at. And if you want to join in, just go to Lori's blog. It's beinmybonnet.blogspot.com, and I am going to be using the same setting here, and I am going to piece this together. And the next time I think that you guys are going to see it will be it quilted together. So these are a lot of fun. I mean, I love that I can have a quilt too, even though I don't like chickens. Lori told me, what if she gets chickens one day? And I said, well, then I'm just not going to come over. I will be scared of chickens. And then I'm getting some questions on the seams. So I'm going to just show you a couple of blocks of seams. And it kind of depends what mood I'm in. But I think, you know, you can see here, I don't even remember what I did, but a lot of these I did press open. So this one I didn't, probably a different day. So that's how those are pressed. And I think Lori's in the chat, so if y'all have questions on her sew along, definitely ask her. So you can see here, I kind of, oh, that needs to be fixed. So yeah, I probably did these the same day and pressed open, probably did these on a different day and didn't press open. So I kind of mix and match and just do whatever I'm in the mood for. I used to kind of write in my book. I used to write in here like, oh, I'm pressing everything open, or oh, I'm pressing to one side. But then I realized that I'm not organized enough to remember to look here, because I usually look at this when I'm done for the day, not when I'm starting the day. So because of that, I just iron whichever way. And on Lori's blog, it will tell you which blocks you need to make out of these books. So there's 2 quilts here, and I'm making the piece one. So that's the second sew along. And any questions you guys have, let me know. The next sew along is hosted by Sherry McConnell, and I think this is the 3rd year I've done this with her. And she is offering these by the month. It's on the, I think it's the first Thursday of the month. It's a free block. And what she does is she gives you a 6-inch finished and a 12-inch finished. And this year they all have the churn dash border. And she is going to have video tutorials on how to make the blocks. So I'm going to show you my blocks for they're in no particular order, but they're January, February, March, and April. And I am using navy and white, or navy and cream, for the outside churn dashes. And since she put on her blog that they're all going to have the outsides, I've already done all of my outsides so that they're done. And I kind of clipped them together so that they wouldn't fly away. And then in the end, I will either set this, since they're 6-inch finished, I'll either use Sherry's setting, or I might use one of the settings from one of Lori's books, since she has a lot of settings with 6-inch. We'll just have to see. And then this would actually look really good like that, because when you put these together, it would form a circle. So I haven't decided my setting, but that's the first quilt I'm doing with it. But the Beyond Bella is coming later this year. And on this one, I'm going to make a cube where I put them on each side. So I have all my, so I'm only going to make 6, but I have all of my borders done. And I'm going to put them in this cube. I just got this cube like at Michael's. And these, I think I pressed open. And these are so crazy. I mean, if you look at this one, like you can barely even get that seam down. So I'll probably have to iron that and then put the clapper on it again. So this one's fun. I'm just having a lot of fun using different colors. I kind of thought the cube would be cute. I think I'm gonna put it in one of my kids' rooms, because they're always asking me to make them something, even though they have a million quilts. But I have 2 twins and they like to throw things at each other. So I'm thinking they might just throw the cube at each other, and that might be hilarious to me. Okay, the next one is page 10. This is a Riley Blake quilt along, and it's basically almost over. And I'm going to show you the last few blocks that I haven't shown you. This one is Argyle Square by Melanie Collette from Hello Melly. This one is Double Cross by Sue Daly. Sorry. This is Double Cross by, I think I have them out of order. Double Cross by Sue Daly. This one is Pop Star by Heather Peterson. And then this one is actually by Melanie Collette. So what I wanted to show you on each of these is kind of a couple of things. And I'm making 2 of these quilts. Right now I'm just showing you the larger blocks. On this one, you can see I colored this differently. They had 4 colors or 3 colors used here. And I just felt like when I colored it, it came out too busy. So I have changed the coloring of it, and that's okay. So that one, these other 2 were really hard. I will tell you, they were really hard. This one was really hard to color, but this one definitely pressed open. And this one, what they're going to do, I think there's 3 blocks left, 2 or 3 blocks left. And what I'm going to do is set the large one just like Riley Blake. So I'm going to wait for that to come, and then I'm going to put this one in that setting. But what I decided to do on the smaller blocks is I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And it's going to be in random order. So actually, can we zoom out? My son's actually going to lay them out for me. I probably won't do it. He'll probably do it for me, one of them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of stack them so we can see kind of the concept of what I'm trying to do. This one, I just don't want to have 2 quilts that are exactly the same. Now this is not the layout this is not the exact placement. I'll have my son do the placement. So I have these blocks. What I'm going to do is put them like this, and then from the panel, I cut blocks the same size, and they're little stars. And obviously the color will be different. I'm not gonna have all aqua, all pink. I'll probably do diagonal colored, so like pink. And then I'd probably do navy here. So I'm gonna do a very simple quilt where I've got these stars. They're just from a panel. And I'll probably do like an aqua, pink, blue, and then aqua again. And what I'll do is I have this kind of drawn in EQ. Now this is obviously not exact, and I don't do a great job of EQ, but I'll give this to my son. and I'll say, or I'll give it to Will and I'll say, lay this out. I have to actually text him today to warn him that when he comes home, we're going to be piecing quilts. And I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to add a border. I think I'll probably add like a 3-inch border. I'm not exactly sure on the border size yet. Whenever I'm adding a border, if I'm not sure, I'll make it really big and then cut it down until I feel like it looks the best. So this will be fun because I made each block exactly the same. And I just don't want to have 2 quilts exactly the same. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. I haven't decided yet on this one. So I'm going to make 2 quilts out of the Riley Blake designs. Now on the squares that are going to go in the cube, I'm not going to finish the edges. I'm just going to hope they don't mess up. Like, I hope they don't shred or anything. And then my long arm quilter, she doesn't mind if seams are pressed open. Some long arm quilters do not like seams pressed open. So it just depends what your long arm quilter wants to do, but mine doesn't mind. The next one is Completely Free Sew Along by Pat Sloan. It's called Sweet Dreams. I just have to find it in here. Okay, number 7. So this one, this is the binding. This is the backing. And I found my blocks. I had some missing blocks. I found them. But what I did here is I got a 108 backing, and it's from the same collection. It's Cookbook by Holt. And my blocks just used red, white, and blue. This has a little bit of aqua, but that doesn't matter to me. I added a label, and it's, we'll zoom in, but it's stitched down. I've shown how to do it before, but I put a border on my label, turned it under with a hot hammer ruler, and then I just stitched it down with navy thread. So this one, I think there's like 3 blocks left. And I'm going to kind of show you how my quilt is looking now. And like the blocks I've done since you've seen it. I'm going to hold it up and then we'll put it on the table. So this one is completely free. Her website is ilovetomakequilts.com. And I did change, these are not exactly in the order. These are the first 9 blocks. I did change the order slightly just so that it would look better on what I had picked. And this is Cookbook fabric from Holt. And anytime there was a flying geese or half square triangle, I used paper. To do the 9 patches, I did did strip sets, made them larger, cut them down. And then I used flying geese paper for these. And then half square triangle paper for here. And then the only thing different was I thought it might look good if I had added like a corner square here. But then I thought, no, I don't want to change her design. So these are the first 11 blocks. 9 in the center, this was a section, and then this was a section. And she has the finishing already on her site. So I'm going to start putting this together, and the next time you guys see this, it will be completely finished. This is block 13, and when you get into the higher number blocks, like 13 and up, you make the same block twice. So I decided, she kind of did an inverted where one is like, where she inverted her backgrounds. And I just didn't know how that would look. So what I decided to do was, I just moved my colors and kept my background the same way. And then I used triangle paper on all of the blocks, 13 through 18, you actually use H200 triangle paper. So I actually, when I made them all kind of at one time, and my son pulled all the papers off, and I think it was like 200 something papers because he counted. So this is block 13. This is block 14. And so you can see, I just kind of kept my background the same spot, but then changed my placement of colors, which is different a little bit than what she did, and that's okay. And I think I'm gonna just like, I need to email her and ask her how she's gonna put the blocks in the border. If she's gonna put them like opposite sides, or how she's gonna do it. This is block 15, and this one didn't use triangle paper. And then this one, you can see some of it I pressed open, some I didn't. And then block 16. And then there's going to be 4 more. Well, 2 17s and then 2 18s. And what I went ahead and did, since I went ahead and assembled the center that you saw, she already gave instructions for the finishing, so I made these, which are going to be the corners. And then these are the 2.5-inch rectangles, 3.5-inch rectangles, and 4.5-inch rectangles that you use across the edge. And she doesn't letter them, so I just did the cut size so I don't have to think. So this one, the next time you see it, will be soon quilted. So my maybe 6th, I don't know. I've been busy. I think we're on the 6th one. Is Branching Out. It is designed by Susan Aki, and I put layout to be determined and size to be determined because that means I don't know what I'm doing. So I had already shown you a lot of blocks, but I went ahead and made more. So I'm up to 50 blocks. And what I did was I looked at my remaining, because basically when I cut this, I cut everything at one time. I looked at what was left, and I have enough to make 62 total. So I only have enough to make 12 more blocks. Now, that doesn't mean I will leave the block. I can either wait until more fig tree fabric comes out, because I've already bought everything I could on Etsy and eBay. So these are my previous ones. So I have to make 12 more, which I could do that in a couple hours. And when I do that, I have to figure out my setting, and I am struggling with it, and Jocelyn's helping me, and I'm just not sure what to do on the setting. But when I do the setting, I will definitely let you know. Next time you see this, it will just be more blocks. This one is kind of, it's free on Susan Aki's Instagram and Moda's blog, and there are 2 different block sizes that they give you. I'm using all scraps from green fig tree quilts over the years. I'm using the same background and the same trunk though throughout. And then I'm gonna do a different setting than they have. I just have to figure out what that's going to be. And this one, you know, I'll be happy if it's done like in July, August, no rush. And I just have them on my design board. But when I was making that, when I was making this one, obviously I had a lot of greens, and I had either layer cake squares or scraps or whatever. And I thought, you know what? I really like this Mini Charming Christmas, which is a completely free pattern at Fat Quarter Shop. We did it a couple years ago, and I thought, why? Because I was going to cut all of this up and then put it in my scrap buckets, and I thought, why should I do that? Let me just make a quilt. So I have all of our free shortcut quilts in a binder at home, and so I just made this. And I love the quilting. Gina Tell did the quilting. I love really small, dense quilting. And I just popped a label on the back. And this one I will put, this will be like, I'll just put it in the center of a table around Christmas time. But I did keep the white the same because I felt like if I put green, it would be too green. And then the only thing is I wasn't sure if I should put a brown stump or green, but when I did the brown, I felt like your eye went to the brown. So I changed it out and made it green. So that was just kind of a bonus quilt that I got to do because I'd already started another one. Now the next sew along I'm going to show you, I haven't shown you before. It started in April, which is this month, and it's called Oh Say Can You Sew. It's by Lisa Bonjean of Primitive Gatherings, and she created this to use a bunch of leftover scraps from the American Gatherings quilt that she made last year. I also made it, but I decided I don't have any scraps left, so I decided I was going to do different fabrics. So the first instruction is to make, I think, 31 3.5 inch, I can't remember how many you make. Yeah, 31. So I basically made a couple that match, and I am using the Flower Farm collection. It's called The Flower Farm by Bunny Hill. It's not arriving until later in the year, but I'm gonna kind of just stack the ones that are the same. But I have the fabric and thought, you know, I really love just red and white. And on these, I did strip piecing and then trim down. And so if you put a 3.5 inch ruler on top of this, they're exactly 3.5. Because I make mine bigger. And then I literally put this on there and then trim all 4 sides. So they come out exact. Now this is free for now, but she's going to be having each month new instructions for the next part because it's going to be 7 parts total. So once she puts up part 2, part 1 will no longer be free. It'll be paid as a PDF. So if you want to sew along, I would download the instructions as she gives them. And I'm assuming it's going to be a larger quilt because it is, you make 31 units and it's 7 parts. So I'm assuming this is going to come out pretty big. So these are my 9 patches, and I put Scrappy, but it's obviously not correct. Oh no, I put Scrappy, 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 the Flower Farm. And I'm not sure who I will make this for or what I will do. And I'll probably keep these just on different boards for each section. So you can look for the next section in early May, but it's going to be, I think it's going to come out May 2nd. But if you don't download this now, it won't be free in May. So, and she's also doing an auction right now on her YouTube channel for Hogs for Heroes. So if you want to own a quilt that she's made, you can go bid on her YouTube channel. So those are like my sew-alongs that are in progress. But since I've seen you last, I have made a lot of progress and finished a lot of things. So these are going to go to Gina Tell today. And this one, let's see, I finished this one April 7th. So I'm going to show you, this is the pattern. These baskets are from Flea Market book. I just totally blanked the name of the book. So this is the Flea Market book. You have to get the baskets there, but the setting is free. So I have it, this is how I send it to Gina. So that's my backing, this is my binding, and this is my quilt. But I'm gonna unfold it and show you. And I'll give you some tips on working with on-point quilts. So there's the top, and then I'm going to show you the bottom. And then you can see it up close here. So I'm going to show you what I do for on point, because I don't really, well, I don't like on point. I don't want to say I do. I don't. I hate it. That's the word. So in this pattern, you cut squares that go here. So I cut those the correct size. But then here, I cut these triangles probably an inch bigger. I assemble everything and then I trim it down, and then I add my borders. And that's how it looks. I'm excited to get this one quilted. I'm not sure what kind of quilting I'm going to do on it. So Lori, do you want to text me and tell me what quilting I should do? I was thinking maybe like feathers. So that's the front. You can tell it's starched because it's like stiff. And then the backing, and I'm just using the same binding. The backing I think I've shown you already, but I'll show you again in case you don't watch. I'm going to just show you on the table because it's, oh, of course I did it upside down. So I cut two pieces that go at the top and the bottom. Like pieces here, pieces here. I cut two rectangles this way, and then I made a little block for the center. And these were just leftovers. Some of the blocks, you made extra half square triangles, so I just saved them and put them on the back. So this one is going to the quilter, so that's exciting. I'm gonna have her so busy. And then after I finished this one, I finished Brickhouse. So Brickhouse is a completely free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop, and it was meant to use up scraps throughout the year. But I finished this already, and it's only April. So the fact that I finished it so early means I have to come up with something else, and I have come up with something else. And I'm going to show that to you next. But I did write down every collection that I used in it, and the reason I did that is a lot of times my blocks go to work, and I just didn't want to make the same block twice. So this one is completely free. I used 16 different collections, and I tried to use each fabric. Well, I'll show you here, and then I'll show you on the, I tried to use each fabric only once. So in each house, I don't have any duplicate fabrics. I did lighter doors. And the only way I could get it to where it kind of looked good for me was to do colors by row. I had a hard time, like if I was putting brown randomly. So you'll see that I kind of did that in rows because it looked better to me. So I'm going to show it to you. It's pretty big too. And I think this one would be really nice to put on a couch because it's got so many colors, and then, you know, if it's on your couch, it would just kind of match anything in your house. And then I'll show you this side. And the only thing that I used consistently was this. This is the 20708-36 that I love. And so I use that. This was a lot of fun. My son actually, I think I have a picture of him laying it out that I put on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere. He laid all the blocks out and picked where they went, and even put the sashing, or the little sashing cornerstones. So that's the front of that one. And this is gonna go to Gina today. For this one, I picked a red binding from an older fabric that was in my stash. And then for my backing, I think I might have already shown you, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'll try to keep this one a little bit. I spend so much time ironing and getting it so pretty for when it goes to Gina, and then I just mess it up on live stream. So what I did on this one is, this is a fabric from, let me look, I wrote it down. It's 55230-17. So this is a Bonnie and Camille fabric. And I didn't have enough to put here. So this is just gonna be in horizontal stripe. And then this is the block I made on our members only video. And I just sewed in my name, and this will go on the back. And for the Brickhouse, I can tell you the different fabric collections. If I'm gonna show you my quilt again, and then I'll show you each collection. And then there is a question on my small Christmas tree quilt, and that one I will put on a coffee table. Oh, this will be fun. This will give us, we'll have to figure out which one is which. Okay. Okay, this is, and I have this to cheat. This is Flea, because they're not in order. This is Flea Market by Riley Blake, Lori Holt. This is Emma by Sherry and Chelsea, Moda Fabrics. This is Merry Little Christmas, Moda Fabrics, Bonnie and Camille. This is Sincerely Yours, Sherry and Chelsea, Moda Fabrics. Cookbook, Riley Blake, Lori Holt. One Fine Day, Camille, Moda Fabrics. A Beautiful Day, Corey Yoder, Moda Fabrics. Flower Pot, Layla Boutique, Moda Fabrics. All of the cornerstones are from the same collections, and this background on sashing is 20708-36. Okay, I gotta, let's see, I don't know. Nantucket Summer by Camille, Moda Fabrics. Stitched Christmas, Fig Tree, Moda Fabrics. Stitched Fig Tree, Moda Fabrics. Joyful, Joyful, Stacy, It's Sue, Moda Fabrics. Country Rose, Layla Boutique, Moda Fabrics. Slow Stroll, Fancy That House Designs, Moda Fabrics. Buttercup and Slate, Corey Yoder, Moda Fabrics. And The Flower Farm, Ann Sutton, Moda Fabrics. And what I do to make these, when they show me fabrics, we keep the cap sets. And I cut them up into these quilts. So that is this one. But because it's April, and I've already done my Scrappy quilt, I can't just be done. So this is a little peek and a little tease. I'm not going to tell you much about it because I don't want to give it away. This is a pattern in Lori Holt's brand new book called Scrappiness is Happiness. It uses 4 packages of her sew-in interfacing. All the instructions are in the book, but I went ahead and I am going to, going forward, any collection I use, I'm going to make 3 blocks out of it. So you'll have to buy the book for the instructions. You'll have to buy the interfacing, but the interfacing is out of stock until June. Late June is what I was quoted. But I already had some, so I just decided that I'm going to just do this. And it kind of, what I did is I just had some leftovers of these from the other quilts, and I thought, well, let me see how many blocks I can get. And because I'm so, like, I don't know, so picky about stuff, I decided I'm just gonna do 3 from each, and that came out about right. So that's something you can look forward to. That's going to be a sew along, and we're going to host it. It's called Scrappy Strings. So more information to come in the summer. And then the next sneak peek is going to be a sew along. It's called Boo Crew, and we are pre-selling this. And the reason I'm not showing you on camera is they don't trust me to not accidentally show the whole thing, because it is a mystery. It's going to be 33.5 inches square, and on this one, starting in June, we're going to have a weekly free pattern and a weekly tutorial, and it's completely free pattern. You can buy the kit from us, but of course, if you don't like the fabrics or if you want to use your own fabrics, you can also do that. The kit is available for pre-sale now. If you want fabric requirements, you'll have to wait until it starts. The next one, so that one's called Boo Crew. The next one is called Christmastime, and super fun. It's using the Stitched Christmas fabric collection. It's the same thing, starting in July. Free patterns, free videos. Kit is available for pre-sale now. This one finishes 23 by 27. And this one, it's a mystery. So those will be 2 sew-alongs that are coming up. Okay, another quilt that I finished. This is the front. And this is the back. This is called Color Patch Cascade. It's 46 by 59. This is the Slow Stroll collection by Fancy House, and there's a pattern and a kit. So I went ahead and made the sample because I liked it. And it's basically, I just laid it out exactly like the pattern, and there's 2 panels. One is in the top left, one is in the bottom right, and this is Feather Quilting by Gina Tell, and it is very very small scale. So if you send something to Gina and you want it this small scale, just so you know, it costs extra. So I pay extra. So don't expect when you send it to Gina to get your quilting this small. Boo Crew and Christmastime both have matching cross stitches. The interfacing, it's called sew-in interfacing. I'm not sure. I don't think it's woven, but it's definitely Lori's interfacing. So this is the back, and what I did is with that panel, there were 3 extra panels in there, and I thought, well, let me use those. So these were part of the, and then this is leftover fabric from the front. So I used every bit of fabric in that kit, and then for the backing, I just used a piece here and a piece here, so I didn't have to buy as much backing because I used everything in the front. And then anything that wasn't used in the front, you saw it in the house quilt. And Christine did say that the basket's backing was wrinkled. Is that what happens when you send it to Gina, or do I have to iron it again? So we'll probably iron it before we send it to her again, but I try to make it really nice when I send it to her. So this one's finished, and this is on the website. It's coming later this year. And then another quilt that I made earlier in the year was this. So this one is not a kit, but what it is a panel. This is the Holly Jolly panel that's coming out later in the year, and I cut it into a 36.5 inch square. And then I took a charm pack. Everything is starched. Cut them down using the CGR4 ruler, which is the Creative Grids 4.5 inch square ruler. Cut the charm pack down. I think it might have taken, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 charm packs I used. Gina Tell quilted this for me, and little snowflakes. And on the back, I put Shannon fabric, which is, I think this is baby pink, and then we just put a label on top. And I'm so happy with the quilting on this. Sometimes when you're working with a minky on the back, it can get stretchy. So sometimes she can't get the quilting small, but this time she was able to. And the quilting, I try to have it blend in. There's no gold quilting, so this one has white thread. The previous one, she used a brown thread, I believe. It's not, definitely not gold. I don't know. I'm definitely not a gold person. So that's like a lot of stuff. And I'm going to tell you, I sewed every inch of everything you just saw. There's no secret sewers back here. I wanted to show you that we did a YouTube members only, and we came up with the crumb quilt idea. So if you're a member, we want you to go check that out. I used my boxes of 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5 inch squares. And you'll have to go to the video to see how we did it. But I'm going to be making a scrap quilt out of this also. So I'm going to just pull some fabrics from my bucket. So this is the members only, but it's another scrappy quilt, and this is all scraps. None of this was purchased. This is all just stuff I left, that I had left over. So this one's really fun. And then now I'm going to take questions, any questions you have on anything I showed, and then I'm going to show some new stuff that we have at the shop. And I have a lot to show you because I haven't been here live in a couple of weeks. So this one I will keep all on my design board with my triangles on a roll that you use. Angela asks, I'm from the UK. Where do you keep your quilts? They're always stunning. Okay, so I leave them at work until the very end of the year when I do my recap video, and then they go home. Anything that has a Minky or Shannon type backing, my son Peyton takes. So there's several, like I would say maybe 6 or 7 in the twins room. Emma, I don't trust her. First of all, she doesn't keep anything nice, but she doesn't want any quilts. She does want me to make her one, but she wants to have control over the quilting. I mean, like the fabric and everything. I have them in my living room. I keep them in, I have like a chest of drawers. I have some in my closet. A lot of them at work. I had somebody come over last week and they were like, I thought there would be more cross stitch in your house. And I was like, because it's all at work. So like some of the things I don't get to decorate my home until it's been a couple of years, but there's several. I have some in the game room. My kids will make forts with them. They're kind of just everywhere. I have too many. I even auctioned a lot of them off a couple of years ago, just because I had too many, but they're just everywhere. When Gina does your binding, does she machine sew it on the front and hand tag it to the back? Yes. Do I know what Aurifil 50 weight would be a little bit darker than charcoal? I don't know. Why don't you email Cheryl, CHERYL @fatquartershop.com, and she can look at I think she has a color card. Lori Holt, I'm so happy that Kimberly is sewing with scraps. I finally brought her over to the scrappy side, and that is awesome. Scrappy is happy. Yes, all the scrappy stuff I do is like all originated from Lori, like telling me, save your stuff, save your stuff. And then those little boxes I have, I even do those now because she bought me a label maker. And so when she gave it to me for her birthday, she was like, look, now you can label your scraps. So she's totally got me hooked. Christmas fabric starts shipping May, June. There is still a delay in supply, so it might be closer to June. Anne is asking, can I take a pattern and somehow pick different colors in electric quilts? How do you plan a quilt and visualize it with different colors? So what I do is I take the quilt, I draw it in EQ, and then I import images from, I have access to all the images from like the company drive where I work because I have the images. You can also download them off of like Moda Fabrics or Riley Blake Fabrics. And then I import those images in, and then I just place them and just decide. And I just use it as like a base so that I don't sew something that I hate. So usually if I like it on the screen, I'll like it in person. For super chats, I want to thank the Bathola. She says, thank you for your tutorials. And I want to thank Ann Boswell. I also want to thank Holly Martin because she did some really nice stuff for me that was totally unexpected. And a huge thank you to Shelby Collins. I was out last week and I got a text message from my warehouse manager. And he doesn't text me. Like, people don't text me. And he was like, Kimberly, there's like bunch of boxes and everyone's very confused. I've asked, you know, he had asked like Ryan and Denise, he's like, there's all this starch, we don't know, like, because I don't, like, if I buy something for myself, I don't ship it here because I don't want it to like get congested in the receiving. So I was driving, so I called him and he was like, there's like 120 cans of starch here. And I was like, oh, somebody had emailed me from customer service. Emily had emailed me from customer service and said, oh, a customer's going to send you stuff. But I didn't know it was 120 cans. So the funny thing is, it's all in the back of Kevin's car now, and he can take it out of the car, or my kids can take it out of the car. And I emailed her and told her that I would email her when I used all of it. But I bet it takes me about 6 months. So it's really nice because I buy it I'm on auto ship with Amazon with it, but a lot of times they cancel my delivery because of supply issues. So thank you so much. I have a lot of starch. But yeah, they were so confused. They were like, did you ship starch? Everybody was so confused. So that's all the questions I see. So I'm going to kind of run through new stuff. And if you have more questions, just pop them in. And that's that. This behind me right here is the Layer Cake Shuffle quilt. It was designed by Jocelyn and made by Carrie. And Gina quilted it. And it is a free video and free pattern. And then I'm going to show you this quilt and then we'll talk about it. So this is a brand new quilt kit. This fabric just came in the last week or two and it's selling like crazy. The kit is called Perseverance. The fabric is Starlight Gatherings. The designer of the fabric is Primitive Gatherings. Angel designed the quilt. Carrie made it. And Mike at mylongarm.com quilted it. And so this is the front and the back. So that quilt kit is new. And then earlier in the year, I sewed my Stronger Together quilt with this fabric. It's called Creativity Glows. And I just wanted to show it to you because it's here now. And a lot of you couldn't get it then, and so it's here now. I don't think the regular pre-cuts are here yet, only the yardage. But I used the blues. And then stitched, okay, so stitch yardage and stitched half yard bundles are in stock. The pre-cuts are not here yet. And this just arrived, I think, yesterday. So I'm using this in several quilts. But I just wanted you to know if you pre-bought the bundles, they're just not here yet. And then I wanted to show you, there is a company called FIGO. It's a newer company. It's a division of Northcott. And I don't know if it's FIGO or FIGO. And I thought this one was really nice. They have pre-cuts. And we did cut our own half-yard bundles. But Northcott fabric has a really nice feel to it. It's really nice to sew with. And these are more modern designs. So I just thought it would be fun to show you a different style. And then this is how it looks in the half yard. Okay, this is a new designer for us. This is Robert Kaufman, and it's Earth Views by Karen Nyberg. Now, she's an astronaut, and so when she was in space, I don't know where she went, but she was somewhere in space, she took photographs of the Earth and different things in the sky. So these are new from her, and I did want to let you know there's 3 SKUs we don't have yardage of because Robert Kaufman just doesn't have them yet, but this is very different for us, totally different look, so I just wanted to show it to you. And then, oh my gosh, this is so cute. So Fisher Price was a collection from Riley Blake. We still have all of it from the original SKUs from a couple of years ago. But they have a new one called Let's Play, and it's so cute. I wish my kids, if they were small, I would make them something. They're just not small anymore. This little, it's got a little panda. So cute. But this was super popular the first time we had it. And then I wanted to show you, this is St. Leonard. It's an Andover collection. And Andover really specializes in 1800s, you know, reproduction type fabrics. And this is if you are into that and you like low volume, this is a great bundle. A lot of you really like Ruby Star. So we got a couple of collections in from them, but I wanted to show Camellia. It's by Melody Miller. And this is the fat quarter bundle. Now, Ruby Star folds their fat quarter bundles different than Moda. They're folded larger sizes. So it's a fat quarter bundle, even though it looks like a half yard bundle. And these, this one has metallic. That was such a funny question. If the thread was gold, I think I would probably have a heart attack if Gina quilted something of mine in gold. Okay, I wanted to show this. Compass is a collection that is woven. Some people love woven, some people don't. It's definitely harder to sew with, but it's a thinner fabric. It's woven, but it has a beautiful look. And basically, Laundry Basket Quilts came out with north, east, south, and west, and she did that over a couple of, like a year or two. So now all four are here. So if you like wovens, we now have some that are in a different variety of colors. And I just wanted to show that because all four have come in. The flower pot collection has not arrived yet, except the Jolly Bar has. So that's exciting. So if you are looking, this is the fabric I'm using in the Sherry McConnell quilt. And then a lot of you probably saw this earlier in the week, but our snail trail paper, we've been working on this a couple of years, and this came out this week. So there's a video on our YouTube channel on how to use it, and I'm trying to come up with something in addition to that to use it for. So that's what we have that's new, and I'm happy to answer any questions. There's just a couple of questions in here. Mary Ellen says that when she's sewing, I hear Kimberly in my head. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Kimberly, no matter how precise I am, my half square triangles are not perfect. Should I always use triangle paper? I always use triangle paper. Because if you don't, you're sewing on a bias. But you should do whatever works for you. Like Lori, she doesn't use triangle paper ever. Like that's not a thing that she uses. It's not even a thing. So yeah. Jolly Bar Book 4 is actually written and it's being proofed right now. It will be coming out in the fall of this year. For my borders of Moda Blockheads, I have not decided, but I might use the accent fabric, which is that kind of backgroundish color. I would like to make the Stronger Together using Creativity Glows. Can you give me yardage? Okay. So right here, you can take a screenshot of this. I would probably do maybe 2 yards of the background. Half a yard is definitely enough for the blocks. The border, I would just look at what the fabric requirements say and then the binding. And these are all the SKUs I used. So hopefully that helps. And then big thank you to my super chatters, Valeria Bauer. She always gives us like a little cute little emoji. And then Vivian Fitzpatrick says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. It helps more than you probably realize. Oh, thank you so much. And then I wanted to end the live stream with a picture of Piggy. The last time y'all saw him, he had a little rash, but now he's all better and he still loves going to Starbucks and he goes nuts getting the little puppuccinos. So maybe you could take your dog today and get a little puppuccino. I've had so much fun with you guys today. Any kind of questions you have, just pop them in the comments and I'll answer them, and I'll see you next week.